삼촌 왔네. 삼촌. 연서야. 이덕에 우리가 다 모였다. 이덕에 우리가.
Okay, go.
Hi, everybody. My name's Chris. If you hear, which you won't hear, everybody's always so worried about background noise. You could never hear background noise with these SM58s. Oh, here she comes. Come on in. What's the political report? Take it from an actual billionaire, Rick Rewound. Let's see. What am I doing here? I got to get to my real notes here. Oh, here we go.
Oh, you've got like fake notes? And
Theme song
real
with
notes.
movie quote. Pleasantries. 10 minutes. Are we rolling?
Yeah,
we are.
we've been rolling for like a minute.
My bad. Welcome to Lost and Found and Rewound, where one of us just caught global event fever. One of us will never catch it due to his magical blood. And one of us thinks he was patient zero. I'm recently recovered Chris Lost.
I'm Found Jim.
And I'm I'm Archduke Rick Rewound.
Haven't you used that before, Archduke?
Did I? I've been trying to keep track.
I like your royalty. I don't think you have. I think I heard it on a different podcast.
Really? Somebody else is calling them Archduke themselves?
No, they were just talking about the Archduke Ferdinand.
Oh, okay.
In the start of the World War.
Yeah. He didn't start it. He just got shot, right?
He finished it.
Yeah.
Sort of. He finished the start of it.
Yeah, nobody talks about what's the name of the person who shot Archduke Ferdinand? I can't remember. Somebody's yelling at their iPod.
It was covered in that colorized version of World War II, right? Oh, no, that was a World War I thing.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know anything.
Who shot him? Sorry. Just you guys talk. I'm going to look it up.
Sirhan?
Yeah, it would somebody with two names, right?
We just finished watching the 2006 horror film, thriller, drama, The Host. And I'll give you my synopsis while Rick looks up who killed Archduke Ferdinand.
Gavrilo Princip, 19-year-old.
An American jerk orders the dumping of toxic chemicals into the Han River, which deforms a fish into a great big scary fish monster. Sans dolly zoom, the monster attacks a beach of tourists and steals a little girl, which reforms a dysfunctional family into a functional rescue team that fails to rescue the girl from the monster, but does seem to save themselves as a family. What do you guys think of The Host? You'd seen it before. I thought you hadn't seen it. It was one of the reasons I picked it.
I thought I'd seen it, but I don't know if I didn't remember much of it, which was weird. But it was a long time ago.
It was 18 years ago.
Wow.
Since I've seen it.
Yeah.
But you must have seen it more recently, Rick, because at one point you hadn't seen it. I know that for sure.
Really?
And that was like within the last 10 years you'd said you hadn't seen it.
I remember seeing it. I feel like maybe I didn't remember that I had seen it. And then once I saw the picture of the cover, I remember seeing it. It felt familiar. I mean, just the act. Well, that main actor, right? He was in Snowpiercer and Parasite, right?
He was in Parasite.
Yeah. So maybe I just remember him from there. But I feel like I saw it. Why is it called The Host?
Good question.
Is it the idea that he's the host of the virus?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it is virus related.
But there's no virus, right?
No.
There is no virus.
It's something about the family too. Like what could it be? Like he's,
yeah.
but I don't. I don't know. I don't get
So
it.
he's kind of hosting those two kids, right? In his little house there.
The monster?
His drainage house.
I thought maybe you meant that, yeah, at the end, the main character is hosting the survivor.
Well, he is doing
Yeah.
that. And then they're kind of, when they all have that, they're all eating, getting ready to go try and find the little girl. They have that delusion. I don't know what you would
Yeah.
call it, where the little girl is eating there with them. And it's
Right.
almost like they're hosting her. They're like feeding her food and almost like a family would host
Ooh.
someone.
The bread used in Catholic Eucharist is called the host, and it comes from the Latin word hostio, which means sacrificial victim. The host can be used to refer to the bread before and after consecration, but it's more accurate to use it after. Yeah, see that should be something a Catholic would catch.
Yeah. Well, if we only had a Catholic, figure that out. I'm a ex-Catholic.
Lapsed.
Maybe the concussions that the nuns gave me knocked the Catholicism out of me. How did you look that up as to why did they call it the host, or did you just look up the
why
host as a definition?
Why is the host called the host? And that's the answer I got. So it wasn't specifically about the movie.
Maybe we could scrutinize my theory of the film. I have been looking at all of Bong Joon-ho's movies, and it seems like there's a big theme that looks to be what he's trying to talk about in the movie. But to me, it seems like that's really ham-fisted or heavy-handed. And then there's what he really kind of gets to, and what makes the film special is the true theme of the film, which I was arguing was family, dysfunction and function. And if you talk about the sacrificial host, she sacrificed herself, her grandfather sacrificed himself, and the outcome of that, I thought, was going to be a reconnection of the siblings, the three siblings, bringing the family back together, and the little boy sort of being the new child of the family. But then I forgot at the last scene. I thought the last scene was going to be the three siblings around a table feeding the little boy, similar to The Delusion, but it was just the blonde or now brunette guy hosting the little boy. So anyway, my theory was that the movie was using the Godzilla theme of like pollution creates monsters, and there's all those things with Agent Yellow, which was supposed to be obviously Agent Orange, and that was sort of the umbrella, but underneath it was something around function and dysfunction in families,
Trauma, loss, surviving loss, or finding new family, or finding a new or someone else, continuity. Maybe you have the loss, but then there's the main character has a new son, and he's a father, right? And it's like his father is gone, but now he's the father, even though he was a father before to the daughter.
but he was a bad father to the daughter.
Bad daughter.
He seems to
Okay,
be a
yeah.
caring father to the son.
Right. Yeah, it's probably, and I agree. Yeah, sure, it's about family. There's a mention of Jaws on the cover art, but I do think there's Close Encounters in there too. The Close Encounters stuff, those, when you watch Close Encounters, it is about a guy who just leaves his family to, like that Bruce Springsteen song too, right? Which is the Bruce Springsteen.
I left my wife and son in Panama Jack or something. I went
Yeah.
out for a ride and never came back.
Yeah, that same kind of thing. That's
Hungry
close.
heart.
Yeah, hungry heart. So
And
that's
everybody does have a hungry heart, but not
Hungry heart.
everybody leaves their fucking family
right.
because of it.
Exactly. And so
Bruce.
it's the same with Close Encounters, right?
And Bruce is the name of the shark in Jaws.
Oh, really? Wow. So
Tying it all together.
That's amazing.
Which was also the name of Steven Spielberg's lawyer. That's why they named the shark Bruce.
He's a shark, but he's our shark. That's what the Eagles said about Irving Azoff.
Oh, right. Sorry I interrupted you.
No, I like that. It tied it all together. So I think it's a little more, it has that family element, but then it's a little more, and there's the family dysfunction, I guess, but it's all progresses, right? And it's kind of a happy ending, I guess.
Well, the father has that confession where he says, like, I was a raving lunatic or something when he was a young boy, and all he did was eat protein or something. So, like, he was talking about, he was excusing his son for being haphazard about life. But his son was then haphazard and kind of a lunatic and, drinking beer and giving beer to his daughter and falling down. He was stumbling. Actually, there was a real physical comedy thing going on here. Keystone Cops and Charlie Chaplin and what's the other guy?
Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton kind of thing going
The
on.
good one?
Even
Yeah.
even during like really kind of serious moments, or like they're wailing, they're like at the where they have kind of, it's like almost like a wake or something. It's like all the people who have been killed, and they're all the families, like, with the pictures of the deceased, and they're all laying on the ground wailing, and then the guy comes in, the authority figure in the hazmat suit, and slips and falls, like he's about to tell everybody, or they're trying to get everybody to leave, or or find out who's been infected or whatever, but he just slips and falls. And yeah, there's several moments right at the beginning when all hell is breaking loose, and there's definitely weird pratfalls and things happening during it all. And
they all fall down at the wake too. Like they as a unit fall down a lot. They're always like ending on their backs, the four of them.
And he does too. That's definitely, like you said, yeah, the guy, the father of the girl, he's constantly falling. Well, when they're running from the monster, but when he misses, grabs the wrong hand. But there's several moments as they're constantly tripping over things. And
I felt like he was realizing his father's realization that when he was dyed his hair back or let his hair go back to its natural color, I almost didn't recognize him. He was so put together when he was making rice for that boy at the end. By the way, the rice that was in the shot reminded me of the rice I had last night at Anjou Above.
Oh.
One of my favorite restaurants here in town. I had the nigiri plate and the rice. It tastes like rice pudding almost.
Oh, wow.
The rice that's underneath the... hold on. Because I got to adjust this. I want to make sure I turn the knob first. It's got a texture to it. It's not just a bunch of rice, right, where it can kind of fall apart. It's like sticky rice, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But there's something about when it's made really well, like it was at Anjou Above last night, where it just tastes like rice pudding. Maybe dialed a couple notches down from rice pudding. So tasty. But anyway, he seemed very on top of it, responsible. The little boy loved the dream. Hey, did you adjust your knob when you moved your mic down?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
You just can't see.
I can't see. All right. I don't know. I liked that. I liked it. But I was hoping that all of them would be together with the little boy, and that would be kind of...
Yeah.
That was what I remembered. But I guess they did come together at the end to kill the monster.
right.
That's right, yeah.
So that reformed them. But then after that, the two siblings disappeared. The alcoholic and the failed archer.
Bronze. I don't think a bronze medal is failure.
Quote.
Man.
Failure.
Wow.
Bronze medal.
Well, if you're not first, you're last. You know that.
That's right. There's no win in loser.
So did you like this movie, Jim?
Oh yeah, it was great. I loved the monster was great too.
Good character.
Yeah, and
Well written.
for how long ago it looked pretty good. I don't know, the computer CGI, whatever. It was really well done. And
It's well post Jurassic Park. 14 years after Jurassic Park. It was Jurassic Park 1992. Weta Studios was the studio that did it. In the wake of they just completed the Lost of the Rings. Is that what they call it?
The Last of the Rings. Is that a promise? No more Ring movies?
$11 million budget, which was not a lot of money for 2006.
Sounds like a lot to me.
Well, yeah, if somebody gave me $11 million, I wouldn't be working.
I sure wouldn't be making a movie with it. Somebody just gave me $11 million, gave me $1 million.
Rick's favorite thing is that's a lot of rice pudding when you hand him $11 million. And it made $90 million worldwide, so a huge hit. The highest grossing South Korean film in history. Despite the success, the sequel and American remake never happened. So Rick, you're just going to have to wait.
I do remember hearing about an American remake too, I think. So that didn't happen.
No.
lots of good shots of bridges.
Great bridge shots. I loved its gymnastics when it would go flip underneath the bridge.
Yeah. The archer sister came crawling out of the hole in the bridge, the big orange girders. That was a great shot. She's like hiding at the end.
Yeah.
But then there are some more shots underneath. But it was obviously, for $11 million, it's like you got the CGI budget, but then it's like, oh, let's just hang around on the riverfront and under these bridges. It's cool. It doesn't cost a lot of money to get good, cool shots under these bridges. There's a lot of bridges there, obviously. I'm assuming, is it Seoul?
The Han River, I think, in Seoul. I watched the special features on the DVD that I bought. They shot all those sewer scenes in the sewer of the Han River, and they had lots of trouble.
People kept falling down these 20-foot holes. It like seemed a very dangerous bridge to run around in.
It was dangerous, and there's sewage that would freeze on them, which they had to melt the sewage for some reason. I'm not sure why they had to melt the sewage. And then they had the rats that they brought, and then the rats that were already there.
So the professional rats, and then
the non-union rats, and
the scab rats.
Scab rats.
Talking about that, it reminds me now seeing Stalker. Where did they film that? Is like in an industrial area in the Soviet Union, right? And everyone who worked on that film got sick. Tarkovsky, right, died. Died like when he was 50 or something. It was like just stories about filming in this industrial wasteland with all the tunnels and abandoned buildings and sewage in the rivers. It reminded me of that.
Is that the Solaris guy?
Yeah.
I've only seen Solaris and then the other one, the epic.
Andrei
Rublev. Yeah, that's an amazing movie. I think animals were hurt in the making of that film.
Yeah. Horse.
Yeah.
Definitely a poor horse.
Yeah.
Wasn't faked.
No, that's some rough stuff. Rick, did you like it?
Yeah, I did. I thought it could be trimmed a little bit, but that it was good. And yeah, it had that element of elevation, right? Like the Godzilla movies and the Godzilla movie we watched.
Shin Godzilla.
They're good, and I like it, but it is a lot of times it's just about the monster, right? And seeing them, I think I said that, right? It's like, it's really just, getting to see the monster stomp around and everything else is an excuse around it. And this had that little more elevated thing. And thinking again of like Close Encounters, I feel like it had a little more to it, like you said, with the family stuff. So it was good.
You had mentioned it was a sort of a mix or mashup or influences by Jaws and Close Encounters. That's the critique that people have.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking of Nope also.
Nope, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like in the monster, that kind of, or like different type of monster where they started looking like weird sort of evolutionary misfits, right? As I guess you could say that's what Godzilla is too, but it's just that new era of more kind of natural, organic, weird monsters and aliens. And so, yeah, I definitely felt the Nope monster had some aspects of the Host.
And I didn't really think about it that way till just now, but Nope, I loved Nope. I interpreted it differently than most people, but now that I think about it, I could see how he was very influenced by the Host.
Yeah.
For making that movie.
So what's your incorrect take on Nope?
I can't remember it now, and I'm not going to do it a lot of justice, but I felt like there was a Black Lives Matter aspect to it. There was these moments where it felt like authority was... I'll probably cut this out because I had an eloquent way to express it, and then I kind of lost it. It's been so long since I've seen the movie, but there were all these scenes where they would never look at it. They were always looking down, but they were being terrorized by it.
Oh, yeah.
And it reminded me of someone being in sort of the light of a police officer who was kind of saying, don't look at me, look at the ground.
Right.
Just the way they were reacting to it. It reminded me of when we would get hassled by police officers when I was a young kid, and I could only imagine that if there was a racial element to it, because and that's the thing where maybe I'm, why can't I just see a movie with black people in it and think that it's just a horror movie? Why do I have to put this societal or race thing on it? So if I do keep this in, I'll apologize for that. But I do see his movies as kind of having an extra layer, and I was trying to put an extra layer in there. But it just seemed like the monster could also be an authority figure who was being really oppressive to the people, and because they looked like scared children or just people who were being dehumanized by what they were being terrorized by as well. Mm-hmm. But then people said that's not right.
Yeah. You're wrong. And Nope had a scene, right, where the creature's spitting out all the bones, right? There was a leftover
blood,
kind
right?
of throwing up,
yeah,
like an owl, whatever.
Pellets, human pellets.
There was a lot of that in the Host. So critics gave 93% on Rotten Tomatoes and 72% audience. Audiences didn't like it as much as critics, which again, for a monster movie, is surprising. Mm-hmm. You think that would be flipped. Do you like this director, Rick?
I do. Well, I really like Snowpiercer, and I know that's a divisive movie.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah. No, I know people who absolutely hate Snowpiercer.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's and I think that's a sign of a interesting director, I guess. Yeah, if you make movies where I really like it, and then other people are like, "This is the worst movie I've ever seen."
Because Rick is the Mikey of this podcast, right?
That's right. Like the
Carrying on this serial theme.
cereal. Yeah.
Have you seen Snowpiercer?
No, I haven't. I've been meaning to forever, and I definitely will now. But I haven't seen any of his other movies. Like what's the famous one?
Parasite.
Parasite. I haven't seen that either.
I have to watch that again. I liked it, but you have a problem with Parasite being a knockoff of another movie, right?
Yeah, Martyrs. The
Yeah.
twist in it is stolen from Martyrs verbatim. Of course, we'll sit down and watch both those films back to back, and you can all prove me wrong. But if we sit down and watch those movies back to back, I would be incredibly surprised because I think 5 minutes into Martyrs, Rick would tap out. I tapped. Like, you know how Rick says he closes his eyes watching some of these movies? I close my eyes for a lot of that movie, and I can not close my eyes for a lot of stuff. That's a real weird flex.
Yeah, and I've got a thing now where I just put my hand in between myself and the screen. So I did that today with the host when he was getting his neck
Oh, yeah.
punctured.
I watched that. I kept my eyes open for that. How about you, Jim? Eyes open when they were pulling tissue out of his neck?
Yeah, I watched all that. Some of that part, well, the brain with him strapped down with they're going to mess with his brain. You know, they've got the clamp, his head clamped down. It reminded me of. It's also kind of a monster movie, the No Such Thing. Did you ever see that? I can't remember his name.
The John Mayer song, No Such Thing?
No, is it called No Such Thing? Yeah, No Such Thing.
The John Mayer song comes up first when I do a search, and then the movie.
There's a scene with, what's her name?
Hal Hartley movie.
Yeah,
Wow.
Hal Hartley.
Yeah. I was just thinking about Hal Hartley. Is he
Who stars, what's her name?
the actress terrorized by Terry Gilliam? Sarah Polly.
Sarah Paul. Yeah. She,
That's right. Yeah.
she's strapped down in that movie and like has some kind of back thing, and she has to undergo some kind of treatment for her back, but she's in this big frame and it's like torturing her. It's like exactly like that. Someone strapped down, like it's almost like a torture scene. That one had, that reminded me of that because that has a monster too, but it's a more human monster, fairy tale monster, where he talks and everything.
Well, in the real world, Jim, humans are the monsters. We all know that, right?
Yeah. We learn that often in films.
In these movies.
You know who the real monster is? Us.
Just like New York's the real character.
That's right. The city itself is a character in this film.
So the host, pollution is the broad brush topic. Family is the nuanced topic. Parasite, rich people suck, is the broad brush topic. But I think I was kind of getting tired of the rich people suck thing because it seemed like every movie was like rich people suck. Although I do think he did deal with that with a lot more nuance. And the twist, again, was from Martyrs. Not an endorsement of that film. Snowpiercer, climate change, but I think then I guess there was a real Soylent Green aspect to the. Is that right? They're not eating people; they're eating crickets, aren't they?
In Snowpiercer,
Snowpiercer?
yeah. Cockroaches, I think. Some kind of beetle-like creatures. This is not good. We're ruining it for Jim.
Oh my God, we are ruining it for Jim.
By the way, it looks like Hal Hartley's going to be directing his first film in 10 years, or is directing. It's got a movie in production.
The American version of The Host.
No.
And then Okja had the factory farming sort of broad brush thing.
That reminded me, like some of the chase stuff at the beginning of this film. It was like, oh yeah, because that's what I remember in Okja was some of the funny car chase aspects of that movie.
Phil Collins' daughter is in that movie. Okja, I just cried from the first frame. Like, I was only dreading when it was going to tell me what it was really about, and I just cried and cried and cried. Like, they were just this little girl playing with her pet hippo, and I'm just in tears. I'm like, oh, that hippo's going to die. I don't want to see the love between this girl and her hippo. I won't reveal whether or not that happens, but there is some pretty sad stuff at the end. You're going to watch Okja, right? You run right out and see it. I do think that he works on two different levels. He's got sort of like a broad topic, and then, I don't know, Okja, I guess it was corporate greed. I guess Okja was kind of broad brush all the way across. I love pets. Maybe that was the nuance, to have a kick-ass pet.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it's been a while since I watched it, but it definitely, I felt like it was just talking about our relationship to animals, the complexity of that, and that's not, it's not explored a lot. I think it's okay if that's all it's about, because it's a pretty interesting thing. Speaking of the donkey movie, it's just that idea of animals and human relationships. And
did I tell the story on the podcast about Cowboy, my cat Cowboy? You remember Cowboy, Jim, right? The white cat I had.
Yeah, and Rocket.
Cowboy and Rocket. Yeah, Rocket ran away.
Is this a sad story?
It's a sad story. So Cowboy, I had him from when I was 22 years old till almost 40 years old. Right? Yeah, he 18 years or so. So he saw me at my absolute worst, right? Like he saw me at my most disparate, and then saw me. My wife came into the picture, and she actually nursed him back to health because he was in pretty bad health because he had a really bad owner. And he loved me. Like I would whistle to him, and he would come to me like a dog, like just like Okja, like that's why I'm crying through Okja. And then, he saw the birth of both my children, became a part of our family. It was a huge personality.
Were these home births? Cat was in the hospital?
Yeah, no, we brought the cat in with us. He had to wear a mask.
A little mask.
Everything else was when the hair was fine.
Okay.
No, but then I remember I was telling a story the other day. I took him to the vet to have him put down because he was extremely ill. And we had waited too long. It was almost like inhumane to have let him live that long. And I walk in there with him, and I'm trying to be strong for him. So I'm like, I need to have this cat put down. And what my wife neglected to tell me, because she used to work at a vet, is that if a guy walks into a vet with a cat and says that they want to put the cat down, the vet will then, they suspect that it could be a boyfriend trying, or an ex-boyfriend trying to hurt their partner. So the woman goes to me, well, you're going to have to fill out this form, this whole form about why you're putting the cat down. Can you tell us in general why you're putting him down? I just go, because he's very sick. And I just start bawling. He's very sick. And then the woman pulls the form away. She's like, you don't have to fill that out. She's like, we'll take him, and then we'll call you back, okay? And I'm like, no, I don't want to leave him. And they're like, okay, sir. Anyway, so there is a special nuance to, and in that case, in Okja, she had some family trauma, and Okja kind of patched up that family trauma as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think he's a great director. Is this the only thing you've seen by him?
I think so, yeah. Definitely have to see more.
And then Mother, have you seen Mother? I haven't seen Mother. I know that's supposed to be good.
Is that his first?
No, I think it's between The Host and Snowpiercer.
And I got to clear the tears out of my eyes.
Aw.
I'm a crier. I was running around campus. As Jim accurately portrayed, he's like, I picture you running around campus crying and hugging college students, and I was nearly doing that yesterday. I didn't have the cigar, though. Mother, that's a recent film?
No, I think it's the one after The Host, 2009. So that would be...
After this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably just after. Sort of made this ignorant observation. Have you guys seen this? Is that Korean filmmakers are kicking ass. Korea is cranking out great films. It reminds me of when Hong Kong had that rush of action, and then India recently started cranking out films like RRR, and there's a whole series of films that came out of India. It feels like Korea is kind of taking the mantle now and cranking out great films.
Not to mention Pang Soo as well.
Oh, Pang Soo, yeah, right.
Oh, wow, that's a callback. It's been a while since we talked about Pang Soo.
I just watched some more of one video. It had been a while. I have to confess I hadn't seen any recently, so sorry I brought it up.
No, I'm glad you brought it up. How is Pang Soo?
It's okay. The video I watched was a bit... it was for a charity, which is good, but it was like the Ronald McDonald House. It was a weird kind of promo thing. It's fine, but it was a weird McDonald's thing, video almost. But it wasn't an ad. It was for the Ronald McDonald House, and they're opening in Seoul or something. But
is Pang Soo a show, or is it just a character that does TikTok kind of things?
Yeah, it's it's just YouTube. They're short. It's not a TV show, really. That's the premise, is he wants to be on the TV. It is connected to the TV channel, one of the big channels, but he's trying to get a show, I think. That's what he swam from Antarctica to get on the TV, I think, basically. But so...
Does he come out of the water like the host?
Sort of, yeah. It's true. There are parallels.
The Han River?
Probably, yeah.
Are we going to find out that The Host is just a ripoff of Peng Su.
I changed my opinion. Yeah, the host is a Peng Su ripoff. When did Peng Su originate?
It says 2019.
Yeah,
First appearance on Tok Tok Boni Hani.
So Peng Su stopped for a little while, and this was just
No.
Peng Su popped up.
I just haven't watched recently.
Oh,
So I'd fallen off the wagon, or I was back on the wagon. Now I've fallen off, and I'm watching those videos again. I think.
Peng Su has a lot of attitude.
Oh yeah, sassy.
Kansas City. Food-wise, once only known as a barbecue town. But thanks to the Taco the Town podcast, everything has changed. Kansas City has rightfully taken its place as a taco paradise, smack dab in the middle of the USA, and all of these tacos belong to us on the Taco the Town podcast. My name is W. David Keith, certified tacoholic, and I live a very taco-centric lifestyle. On the Taco the Town podcast, we're tasting every taco in the town. We shine a light on all of the taco-rific tacos Kansas City has to offer, unearthing great taco memories, checking the latest stories in taco news, and interviewing actors, reporters, chefs, politicians, and musicians about their love for tacos. If you love tacos like I do, you're gonna love Taco the Town. Available wherever you get your taco podcasts. A proud member of the Lotus Pod Podcasting Network.
Did you all do any research on the host?
I had forgotten.
What the film was?
I thought you hadn't told us.
I guess I danced around it a little bit.
It was delayed. We kept getting delayed. It was a long
Right.
time ago. We
Yeah, it's my
brought
bad.
this up.
It's your fault, Chris.
It is my fault. I got sick. Hey, I did want to get your mom sick.
You didn't tell me I had to do my homework. You just assigned it.
Do you? I guess you do tell your students they have to do their homework, right?
I did. Well, actually, no, I don't think I do. I think I say there are assignments, and this assignment is due at this time.
Well, next time when I assign a film, I'll tell you there's assignments.
Is there a rubric?
What is a rubric? They didn't have that term in college when I went to college.
Boy, I should know this. I use them. It's kind of like a set grid of grading parameters. So like what excellent, good, fair, poor are, and like different goals, I guess you would say, for the project or the assignment. Sometimes you'll let the students see the rubric so they know what you're expecting and how you're going to be grading.
So here's a Korean media rubric for you, Jim. If I turned in Peng Su and Rick turned in the host, which one of us would get excellent?
Well, Peng Su, easy, excellent.
Yeah.
The host would be I don't know.
Good.
I'm gonna like talk about like maybe a world where like some student will work for like hours or weeks on something and build this huge, long, big, complex thing, and then some student will just wing it and do like a little 10-minute bullshit thing that comes off really great, and then they both get compared and they both get A's, and then the student who worked a really long time on their project would be upset. But you're talking about Peng Su overall, not just a 10-minute YouTube video of Peng Su badgering children or whatever he does.
It's a whole universe. It's like
The Peng Su universe.
Yeah, forget about Marvel.
Well, you know what they need to make? Shin Peng Su.
Yeah.
Like where they, like they have Shin Kamen Rider. They really took it to have you watched that yet?
No.
Oh, I really want
Yeah.
you to watch Shin Kamen
Yeah.
Rider. It's good.
I just want to know what the American Peng Su would look like. Just in the same way they were going to make an American version of the host. What would the American version of Peng Su be?
Chili Willy, right?
Chili Willy.
We have a Peng Su.
Yeah, I guess we do. Chili Willy was what animation studio did Chili Willy? It seems like such a off-brand.
I should know this
cartoon character.
because they
Oh,
talk
it is.
about it all the time on Podcast The Ride. Is it
Yeah,
like
Lance.
a Walter Lance?
Yeah, Walter Lance. Yeah,
With
those.
Woody Woodpecker and
Yeah, that makes sense.
but not Popeye. Was Popeye Walter Lance?
Oh, I don't know who produced those original Popeye shorts.
Where the ship doors
What's
would
the
shut?
brothers? Aren't there? Those
Fleischer.
are the
Yeah.
Fleischer,
Oh, yeah. Fleischer Studio did.
The early ones, at least, or the original.
Fleischer originated them.
And then Robert Altman,
Ultimate.
aided by Kissinger. Kissinger wrote the letter that let Altman ship a whole coffin full of cocaine into wherever they shot.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that.
Popeye. Yes. It's like, don't search this ship. It's fine. Kissinger.
Wow. Amazing.
You didn't listen to the book on tape, The Kid Stays in the Picture?
I did. Oh, no, I watched the movie.
Oh, the
right.
movie,
They made
yeah.
a documentary, right? Yeah, that's
And,
what I
you
did. I
gotta
never
listen
read
to
the
the
book.
book.
Yeah. Yeah, I should.
At another disparate point in time, I've said this before in the podcast, I listened to that book and I dreamed that I was Joshua, his son. So every time it was like, Joshua, I love you. And I was like, I love you too, Dad. I'm proud of you. Don't say those things about yourself. And don't say those things about Ellie McGraw either. It's really creepy. Which character do you relate to, Jim?
Let's see.
Pengsu. Yeah. Pengsu.
No, we're talking about the host, the cast of the host. The little girl, maybe? You have a magical way about you to bring people together.
Sure, I was going to say that, but yeah, her and her father. In between the two of them, maybe.
The more mature father or the blonde highlights father?
The blonde highlights father.
Rick, what character
See,
was
you said main characters because I'm looking at the IMDb, and I was going to say hazmat suit man at funeral.
Cool.
It's the one who slips, right?
Oh,
And
yeah,
falls.
he's
He's
a
the one-
major character. Yeah, exactly. Just kind of wandering into the events and not really being a part of it at all. It's probably the Scott Wilson character.
Scott Wilson character?
It's at the beginning, right?
At the beginning, he's the formaldehyde guy.
Oh, who's telling people to pour
Yeah.
that down the...
So we saw Scott Wilson. Oh, Exorcist 3, right? I'm trying to think of our history with Scott Wilson.
Yeah,
That's-
I completely forgot. I was like, oh, God, now who's he? Always forget who he is.
Yeah.
And he's in The Right Stuff also, right?
Yeah.
He's one of the pilots.
Who's the guy that has the slightly crossed eye?
Yeah, I looked him up.
Isn't he in Seinfeld or something? I remember
I
him
looked him up, and it's Paul Lazar, and that name sounds familiar. It
yeah.
says he's in Snowpiercer, Silence of the Lambs, and The Host.
That's what it is, Silence of the Lambs.
Okay.
He has
Yeah.
that scene where
Yeah.
he's like hitting on her.
Huh.
And she's like, "Are you hitting on me, Mr. Blah, blah, blah?" And
Right.
he's like,
Boy, I don't remember
says
that.
something really creepy. He's like a moth expert. I think she goes,
That would mean I'd have to watch Silence of the Lambs again, which,
Jonathan Demme.
yeah, I'm very upset with Jonathan Demme
You are
for making that movie.
for making Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah, because he used to be good. He was good before that.
What are you saying? It's a good movie.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh my! Well, Rick doesn't
Yeah,
like
you don't know
Silence of the
that. You
Lambs.
don't know that. Ugh, totally like, ugh. Well, there's Jonathan Demme making a commercial movie.
It was a commercial movie, but it had so many landmark moments.
Whatever, man.
Do you watch Fincher movies? Do you have the same problem with Fincher movies?
I don't have a problem with Manhunter by Michael Mann.
Oh, I thought you meant Mindhunter by Fincher.
No, Manhunter.
I love Manhunter.
Yeah.
Brian Cox,
Yeah.
the voice of McDonald's.
Yeah. The voice of McDonald's and the better Hannibal Lecter.
He took that piece of chewing gum and made some phone calls. Remember that?
I forgot that.
That's one of the scenes, like we talk about iconic scenes in films, things you remember. I can remember that chewing gum stunt.
Chris Elliott is in Manhunter, right? There's like a scene. I remember this because it was like one of the first movies he was in, and they showed a clip. I feel like it must have been Manhunter. They showed a clip on Letterman.
Are you sure it wasn't The Abyss?
Abyss? No, I never saw The Abyss.
They did that on Letterman. They showed him in The Abyss, and his scene's like, they're 20 leagues below, or whatever he says. And then Letterman's like laughing at it. He's like, that's hilarious. It's like, I was just being serious.
But then the punishment is always a Letterman in Cabin Boy.
Susie,
He's got the little sock monkey or whatever.
big girls have big appetites. Such a great scene.
Yeah.
Such a great scene.
Saying that ruined his acting career.
Can you look and see if Chris Elliott was in The Abyss?
I'm looking to make sure that he was in
Manhunter?
Manhunter first, Chris.
Well, let's make sure you're right first. I'll say I think I was the father character. I think the guy who's like overly emotive about his past indiscretions and taking too much accountability for the mistakes of his children, when really I think the part of the lesson learned was that they all needed to sort of get a kick in the ass and take accountability for themselves. And At least that's what I thought the arc of your character was, Jim, the father.
So yeah, Manhunter 1986, The Abyss 1989.
Excellent performances in both. Should this film be lost, Jim?
No. Good movie. It was, there's nothing wrong with it. I can't think of why anybody would.
Should the Americans remake it?
No.
I agree with
Absolutely not.
I think you're upsetting Jim.
I keep asking him questions. I gotta stop asking him questions. It's putting him. I said I was trying not to make him feel uncomfortable, and now that's all I've been doing. Should it be found, would you recommend it to a student or coworker? Rick?
Why do I always get this question? Why don't you mix it up?
Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. I think I would recommend it. Like if I'm talking to somebody and they're talking about how they like Godzilla movies or they liked Parasite, and it's like, have you seen? Well, The Host. Yeah, I don't know. Have you seen The Host? Have you seen Snowpiercer?
I always feel like Snowpiercer is a no-brainer. It's like a superhero movie, right? It's a guy like fighting to get to the front of a train. I mean, this is. Right? Talk about a commercial film. It feels very commercial to me.
I don't know. Watching it, it's not like with what's her name? She's an Okja. She plays this Margaret Thatcher, like that, just that, like her character in Snowpiercer, which is obviously like
I know she's in the
Margaret.
She's in that assassin movie with Fassbender.
We've talked about her. We talk about her like every few episodes.
She's in the Clooney movie where he's the cleaner.
And I just searched Snowpiercer, and it's the TV series that showed up.
She was in Jarmusch's movie about the vampires.
Tilda Swinton.
Sorry,
I looked it up. I should remember Tilda Swinton.
Damn you.
Her crazy. Oh, John Hurt's in Snowpiercer, Jim. It's like, I think it's one of his last movies.
Should this film be rewound? Will you watch this film again, Rick? Do you regret watching it a second time today?
I probably will watch it again just because I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I watched it before, and I'll probably forget it again. I don't know why.
I think it is kind of forgettable. Like I only remembered some key moments. I don't remember. I remembered enjoying it end to end. I remember thinking I would recommend this to somebody, hands down. And it also, there wasn't a lot of monster in it. That there was big, long moments of drama that were really working. But do I remember the big, long moments of drama? No, I don't remember. Not like I remember the chewing gum bone scene in Manhunter. Manhunter.
What's the other question? What do I have to ask you, Chris? Should it be rewound? You already said that.
Yeah. I will probably not watch this film again. I wanted to see it one more time, and so I kind of used this podcast to do that. I am developing a theme for this season, which is a little off from what the purpose of this podcast is, but I would argue that the spirit of these films are similar to the films, the rarer films that I would rent back in the day. And this one's pretty old, 2006. It's not a video cassette film. Probably was a DVD film,
yeah.
I imagine. I don't remember when that bar is crossed.
Sometime in the 90s.
97? Yeah, maybe 98.
Yeah.
No, that's not true, because my wife and I would buy VHSs early in our marriage. We were married in 96.
Early 2000?
Yeah. I think
I don't
maybe
know.
2000 was
when it really died away. Yeah, I don't know.
When did Netflix start? 97.
Oh, that was the start of it.
Ooh, look at this. Okay, so I've got an email from June 20th, 1999. I ordered The Beatles' A Hard Day's Night on DVD for $17.49. I don't know if it was even the Criterion collection.
So why did you do that?
Why did I buy that?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just the earliest DVD order I have in my emails.
Oh, 1999.
Yeah, although I do have a blank space in my emails. I don't think I have email from earlier than 99.
All of my emails from Hotmail are gone. I know that. I hope they're gone.
Ooh, yeah, 800.com. I remember that was the company I ordered DVDs from. Ooh, look at this. Ooh, boy, this is like a massive buy here.
What do we got?
June 28th, 1999. Alien 20th Anniversary DVD.
Good.
Spartacus Dual Layer DVD.
Good. Got that one myself.
Manchurian Candidate.
Excellent.
Original. Wages of Fear. Wow.
Outstanding film. Did you get the Criterion version?
I don't know.
It is.
Oh, I think I still have it, actually. Some of this I sold.
The
Bicycle
Criterion
Thief.
version's gorgeous.
Yeah.
What was it?
Bicycle Thief. Bicycle Thieves.
One of my favorite movies of all time. Italian film.
12 Monkeys.
Good film. Who did that? Fincher?
Terry Gilliam.
Terry Gilliam. Sorry. When did it get taken away from him, or did he get to finish it?
He got to finish 12 Monkeys, I think. He did well. I don't remember hearing a lot about there being problems with that one. But it's a adaptation of La Jetée. We've talked about La Jetée, right? Mm-hmm. You don't remember?
I don't remember, but I don't remember anything. What are you asking me to? I've even re-listened to the whole show. I don't.
Did we not talk about La Jetée?
I edited it, and then I listened to it again. Twice probably, and I don't remember it.
French short film science fiction story with just still photos.
Chris Marker.
Oh, I remember talking about that, yeah. I do have this theory about our alleged dementia. It's just we spend a lot of time cramming stuff into our brains in addition to our jobs and our multiple musical projects, and we each essentially run small businesses on the side from our jobs. I think that once you clear all that stuff out, you got a good brain again.
Yeah, I've heard that. I'm not sure it's true.
I think it's true.
Yeah, your brain is full argument.
My brain is full.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it being full.
But it may be getting full because it's getting smaller.
Well, it's definitely getting smaller.
Yeah. Jim and I were at our uncle's 90th birthday, and he is still programming computers and did an extended overview of basically his whole life. It just completely seemed very sharp. Didn't seem sharp, was very sharp. And I was just like, I feel like I can't do this now. Like at
But
my
that's
age.
where I formed my theory, was listening to you tell that story, because
Yeah.
this guy has cleared a lot out of his brain.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he's still doing this coding project, but it's probably the only thing that he's doing. He's not answering 300, and that's a conservative number, emails a day.
That's true. Yeah, maybe you're right.
I did impress myself. I have this application online where we pick the football picks for the NFL. Our family's been doing it for 22 years now. Something broke in my cube, so I have transactional tables, and then I have a cube, or a data star, if you will, that stores all the results of the transactions so that I can easily access it for reporting. You're familiar with the concept of a cube, right?
No.
Really? You're the second? I was hoping. Like, I tried to explain this to Matt and Larry the other day, and they, like, with these glazed over looks, I'm like, you guys don't know what a cube is?
Like in terms of like data management or something?
Right. You have a relational database to capture your transactions, and then you build sort of a flattened database. It almost looks like if you were to take your relational database and put it in a big spreadsheet, and it just makes it a lot easier to query for reporting. And you also create a fact table that has a summary of all your statistics. So it's aggregated data. So instead of picking through a complicated set of relational joins to get data and then running aggregation against thousands of rows of data, you just pull 100 rows of data out and you group a little bit of it. You pull your aggregates straight off the row.
Maybe your brain is full.
Anyway, I was really proud of myself because there was a problem with the cube. And, I wrote this thing, the cube I wrote probably 10, 15 years ago. And I went through the whole thing, and it's like stored procedure after stored procedure after nested view after nested view after nested view. And I had to write it in this really kludgy way because I didn't know how to pass a parameter in my stored procedure. So I was just pulling the sys date off the system. And I'm like, why did this happen? And I figured it out. And then I figured out how to fix it, and I got it all fixed. And then I went on to writing a brand new page for my website that pulled data from the cube once I got the data corrected. So I was like, if I could do that, I must be okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
Sure.
Doesn't help me.
But you can do all that too, because you don't even know what a cube is.
I don't even know what a cube
and you
is.
are in trouble. But not because you have dementia, but because when people come to you and say, okay, Rick, in order for the world to survive, you've got to write a cube. And you're like, I don't even...
What?
Chris said a data star. I don't know. What does that look like?
A data cube, also called a business intelligence cube or an OLAP cube.
Yeah, OLAP.
That's what OLAP.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
OLAP. Because there's OLAP and then there's
Okja.
Okja. The Okja cube is a giant hippopotamus.
Online analytical processing.
Right.
It's an approach to quickly answer multidimensional analytical queries.
That's what I said.
Yeah, it is. And then there's a picture of a cube. An example of an OLAP cube. Products, cities, and then time. The 3 dimensions.
But it's not really a cube. It's a
No.
star. A star is the more accurate way of looking at it. You have a table in the middle that has your facts. Then you have the metadata that hangs off of the fact table. And then you just write a very simple query.
So you got OLAP slicing, you got OLAP dicing, and you got OLAP drill up and drill down.
I never
Do
called
you
it.
ever do a roll up, summarizing the data along a dimension? That sounds like what you were talking about.
Yeah, that's what your
Yeah.
fact table does. That's why you write stored procedures, to drop and reload the data in a cube.
How about a pivot? You ever do a pivot
Of course.
on your OLAP?
Do you know what a Cartesian join is? No. You don't know what a Cartesian join is?
Is that like that's a database thing?
It's a query.
Yeah.
So you know what a join is, right?
Yes.
A Cartesian join is the absence of a join.
Oh, okay.
But when you do a Cartesian join, you want to write that to a table because doing a Cartesian join on the fly takes a lot of time.
Cross join, also known as a cross join.
Sorry, guys.
Databases, man.
I get
That's
excited
the
about
one
that
thing.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, that just makes me crazy.
Really? Databases do?
Like just figuring out queries and everything like that. I mean, I like them.
That's the most important part of development.
Databases rule everything, right?
You can solve so much with your query that you don't have to solve with your logic. My application logic is like idiots, like an idiot would write it.
Right.
But my queries do all the things. And, there's a whole argument about where your business rules shouldn't be in the query. They should be in the middle tier. The user tier should be dumb. The middle tier should be brilliant. And then the data tier should be pretty simple. And then that way you can put any UI on top of the middle tier. It's all dumb, and it just kind of clicks into the middle tier, which is the smartest part. And then the back end shouldn't have the logic either for some reason, but I put a shitload of logic in my queries to make it easier for the middle and UI tier. This podcast really evolved.
Yeah, what to call this podcast? I was trying to think while you were talking. I was just like, what smart-ass name can I come up? Welcome to Six Sigma.
Six Sigma.
Yeah, no.
Now you're talking about like yellow belt stuff, lean, all that. This isn't about business processes, Rick.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm trying to think of, I had a name, but I can't find it in my record here.
In your email to yourself from the owners of Lido's.
I remember taking basic, like in 7th grade, Mr. B, the computer lab, like a summer school, right when they got, bought about 8 or 9 Apple IIs. Yeah.
He was kind of a stud, Mr. B, wasn't he? He had a lot of chest hair and he wasn't afraid to show it.
Had a Stingray, right?
Yeah, he was a stud.
This was the name I thought, but it's not good. It would, instead of Lost and Found and Rewound, it would be Pioneer and Guardian and Driver and Investigator. Welcome to the...
Investigator's not the fourth one.
Oh, Integrator, sorry.
Integrator, yeah.
It would be abbreviated, right? The PGDI podcast.
Well, it's called, what is that? There's a name for that.
Business Chemistry Types. Oh, actually, that would be a funny name for a podcast. Business Chemistry Types. You're one of those business chemistry types.
Business chemistry is kind of an oxymoron. Right? Business chemistry?
Yeah, it would be more like, business alchemy? Sounds like a science, but it's not. Like economics, too, right?
Seeing faces in the clouds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, is that scientific, too?
Probably.
Oh, that cloud looks like a dog. And that's why it's going to rain for the next year.
Well, there's astronomy, which is a science, right? And astrology, which is not.
Exactly, yeah.
So then there's economics, which is not a math, and finance, which is, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're using math, you're using research methods. Yeah, it's like alchemy, but you're using all that to turn lead into gold. Although I guess you can do that now, right? Yeah, so that's a little different.
You can turn lead into gold?
It costs more than it would the profit, right?
I don't know. I
think you can.
Rick, this,
Starting with your rumors.
There's that dementia question. Rick, can a human turn lead into gold? Of course, I think you can.
Yeah. So you can do it, but the rate of production is you're using particle accelerators and stuff. You're bombarding. You're using a huge amount of energy and equipment to do this conversion. It costs more to convert lead into gold than any kind of profit you would make. Start out with a pound of lead. I spend $3 billion turning it into a pound of gold.
Is it cheaper to do the reverse? To turn gold into lead?
I don't think so. I think it's the same problem.
Lost and Found and Rewound is fully funded by Lost and Found and Rewound Foundation funds. Lost and Found and Rewound does not use crowdfunding because our listeners have better things to do with their funding. There's no need to post reviews of Lost and Found and Rewound because our listeners have more valuable things to do with their time. In all sincerity, thank you for listening to the show. We truly appreciate it.
Lotus Pod.